tend to do, you know, when the guns aren't automatically targeting, they're manually targeting the guns, a lot of the vehicles. And
Hans, the sharpshooter, has 21 kills. Veterancy 2 sniper, blinking away with a plume of blood going up with that poor rear echelon, who's now going home in a matchbox for his family. Major leading by example here, taking back a victory point. It is a ticker scenario, much like many first-person shooter games like Domination or Conquest, Call of Duty, Battlefield respectively. Jackson, huge shot in against the Panzer Mark IV, recoils in terror and reverses away. Oh!
Once again, I wasn't really expecting this from Allies, but what a huge push at the moment. They're really putting the pressure on. 80 gun is just found out there. The lieutenant's able to I'm just waiting for it to wipe so I can say it's been decapped. but actually smoke is going to be helping that. It's a great push, and they're just putting such huge pressure on the resource points right now. They're going to stunt.
And this isn't just about Vape Nation. This is very much a valid tactic in military scenarios. Is smoking the enemy out or preserving your own unit through the usage of smoke. Here we go. We've got the Panzer Mark IV, who previously took out the Universal Carrier. He's gunning for the AEC, pushing straight down in and under.
Our capture point. They're trying to take it.
And here's the Brumbear, the big heavy assault gun of the Axis. It's back out on the battlefield. I think one thing that for tank nerds that makes this a better game than something like World of Tanks is, for one, it's really cheap. You don't have to grind for your vehicles. You get them all part of your base territory tree for the most part. But also it's within the context of a military contest. It's not just an arcade style, everything's flying around, doing 360 barrel turns. If you want to see tanks in a nice setting, there's no better game than Covenant Heroes 2. This features them supported by infantry against anti-tank guns with mortar smoke. It's such a military hard-on.
Yeah, the tanks in this game are just stunning. The control is really good as well. You can control near enough everything of it, direction, whether it's reversing or going forwards. I mean, it makes it very functional and fun to play with. I think that's the interesting point. You know, flanking the tanks in this game.
It really is. Those huge moments when a game that's become a stalemate, such as this one, erupts in a furious and aggressive fountain of bloodlust. And that can happen. It's been known to happen. There's entire montages on YouTube of those very moments. And I really do feel like, Dan, because they know it's a fun game today, these guys are going to be treating this to those huge late game kind of aggressive movements.
I hope so, because we had some in the last game that were great. Also seem to be centering around Jackson pushes. And you can just see Hooligan there poking it up. It's got such long range that as soon as the infantry moving up the field get any kind of sight on the vehicles, Jackson is automatically targeting and firing those heavy penetration shots. And look at this AC trying to lean in there to get a finishing blow, and isn't quite successful. But you know, they're just poking the tanks in left and right.
You know what? He's going for the AEC. He's been aggressive. He's been hit by the PAC-40. He's now all or nothing. He's going for the Brumbear. Will he get the kill? Oh, he's come up in a rock and a hard place. He tries to smoke his way out. Will he be able to get out, Dan?
Oh no! He tried to take the ground attack shot. It didn't penetrate, but fortunately Talisman paying attention got the counter through the smoke. So that's what happens sometimes. You try and take those risks, doesn't always pay off.
There you go. It's all about those moments where you throw the chips into the center of the table, and you can either come up with a straight flush or a low pair, and he came up with a low pair there. It is a game of calculated decision making at times. It is a simulated battlefield engine where things can go wrong, such as your weapon not penetrating the enemy's armor, and it kind of simulates the chaos of warfare in that sense. But you can be assured the best players always rise to the top, and we've consistently had the best tournament players winning year upon year upon year. So the proof is in the pudding in that sense of this being a skill-based RTS.
Interesting that Noggano has gone for the Comet. I don't think I've seen much of the Comet recently. It's a great anti-tank unit. It's so efficient against infantry. Nevertheless, it's not inefficient by any means. But Noggano, of course, has been stacking all manner of resources through this game. He's able to bring that on the field. It's a beautiful unit. And, if you haven't already highlighted this to people as well, we've talked a lot about the actual gameplay, the aesthetics of the game, the sound in the game is
the aesthetics of Company Heroes
the
is
best in
pretty
any
much
art.
unrivaled as from strategy game standpoint. It's the also, it has mortars that are static in placements. Vet 3 from Noggano there, 7 kills. That was a bit of irony for the community members amongst you. Scotch is going full on Wehrmacht superiority. He's getting the Panther out right now.
Interesting. Oh, Hooligan using a rifle discover. I think the interesting one, the Hooligan is stacking up his munitions resource. He's gone for airborne, which means he's going to be able to bring out the P-47 rocket strafe in half a CP. That's CP is command points, for anyone who doesn't know. Command points are earned with the more experience you get from the units fighting in the game, and when this comes on, he's against Austria. They don't really have anything to take aircraft down at the moment.
Big shots in from the double Jackson team there. People are wondering, the audio is slightly out of sync. I set this stream up after coming home from work, and there is a setting I needed to change in OBS that I forgot to, my bad. So it's a couple of seconds out, my bad. I've only just realised what people are on about. But the Jackson team is a fierce spectrum in the centre. Oh yeah, it's not about your audio. It's, just don't worry about it. Jackson team in the centre. They're doing a hell of a job of consolidating the territorial gains of the Allies and ensuring the victory point count remains dominant, and they're in a position to keep it remaining so.
Oh, we have now got the Elephant arriving very much in the north right now. This is a great unit because we see that there's 2 Jacksons from Hooligan. The Elephant is even longer range, and if it can be protected, then it's going to surely dominate the center lines of this map. And Rails and Metal, all the maps in Company of Heroes, they can be terraformed, they change, cover changes, but this map cannot change the fact that it is very narrow, and the Elephant is absolutely fantastic in narrow situations.
It's one of those units that's just extremely powerful. Dan, just please talk for a moment.
Yeah, of course, no worries at all. And just going on through the center, and you see that allies are desperate for those VPs. VPs in this game very important. You have to drain your opponent down to 0, which makes them very, very.
Oh, what's this? The Stuka strafe's coming down. Where's it going to hit?
Of all games that competitive.
Oh, huge barrage there against the Jacksons. They did part ways and were able to evacuate the situation. Very Dunkirk-esque moment with that Jericho Silent waddling overhead.
Sound in Dunkirk is,
so we've had the Axis with a little bit of a comeback here. Well, don't call it a comeback, but they're certainly looking a little bit stronger now. They've got the Elephant bringing up the rear.
It's important to maybe just explain this. So Axis are a faction, are a team that get stronger as the game progresses. They can start to bring out late game units that most would probably say out-rival their counterparts from...
Oh, what a shot from the Elephant! Long range, whistled over the head of the Mortarman, taking out that Jackson. That was unfortunate for Hooligan.
It's kind of what we expected, actually, from the Elephant. It's very, very good in situations like this, and GB is not going to be able to do much. Of course, he does have the P-47s now, so if they get recon through the center, use the P-47s, they will shake up the Axis tanks, and they have an opportunity to dive in and cause some chaos. The question is whether they feel they have enough armor to do that.
Huge rockets flying in from above. P-47 rockets strafe doing its work there. And this is a bit of a comeback there with the Jacksons coming in straight in for this Panzer Mark IV with a huge shot! Max range, taking it out. The Comet wasn't necessary. A surplus to requirements thanks to that great shot from Hooligan's Jackson there.
It is. That was a fantastic shot. This is exactly what we were looking for. It's the comeback that we could kind of tell needed to happen. Using the P-47s to shake up those tanks. Noggano comes in with that Comet at the front lines. Jackson, the long-range anti-tank unit, moving
Getting too aggressive though now. He's found himself in the trap of the Elephant.
Maximum range.
It's a huge shot. It's now lining up its second. The Ferdinand tank destroyer doing its job there.
And all this time as well, let's not forget that they're securing the VPs. That's a couple of big things that's going on right now. They need VP control. Allies have had the VP lead for a lot of this game. So all they need to do is kind of camp out those stars. Keep pushing, stopping the Axis from building up.
They really should.
And they should have
for Hooligan, having lost his Jacksons there, it's not looking too great now. He will be repairing one of them, of course, but he lost the other, one with veterancy. Comet.
He'll be fine. He's got another one in the build at the moment, so he can get that.
Big shots in from the Comet. 8 kills already. An all-rounder vehicle. Looks like a great area of effect profile.
Very interestingly, Scotch can actually bring out an elephant of his own if he wants to. Now, we don't normally see this as a strategy. It's very, very rare. But can you imagine an elephant left VP and middle VP with the kind of infantry that we see? That would be incredible. And if they both gang up together, we're looking
become a delete button for tanks, basically.
Like the Jackson.
But an incredibly expensive one that leaves them vulnerable to infantry pushes, it must be said. So it's one of those things, you know, it's a very risky strategy. They have to ensure they're well supported also.
We might see. I'm wondering if we'll see. Oh, where's that Stuka going? It's mortar.
Talking about deleting, they just deleted the opponent's ability by bracing his mortar.
Emplacement under attack.
I don't want to say this publicly, but 200 munitions just to scratch the mortar pit. Maybe
almost
don't use
like
that there. Especially when the elephant
having a battle cry after a huge Maori war dance, running up to your opponents in a berserker frenzy, and then hitting them with a pollock, you know, just smacking them with a fish around the face. It's pretty much what just happened. Wasn't the climax we wanted, but this could be. He's pushing in with anti-tank support, Jackson in tow, vetted Tommies, and they're getting the centre back, the Allies. They do not want to relinquish their hold on this game.
I'm actually surprised to see Talisman is going for a Panzer IV. They should potentially be looking at an Ostwind to deal with the P-47s, because they have no anti-air at the moment other than this scout car, which isn't going to be particularly amazing. And P-47s are really the key to Allies coming back in the situation. And if that's not countered, they're constantly leaving Allies' positions.
There's another thing coming up in the community very shortly. We have got a 2v2 tournament on the horizon. A post to be posted very shortly. Another Stuka strafe, or dive bomb rather. Where's it going to hit this time? Yeah, that MG. I was worried about it, and it died. But there's an ultimate team tournament about to hit. Check out code2.org in the coming week or so, and you may be seeing details of the upcoming tournament. That's going to be very exciting indeed.
We have 300 points remaining.
Alright, so this is, we're coming up to 100 VPs now left for the Axis. This is kind of the time when they have to start making some plays. They have to start like securing the map rather than just kind of sitting where they are and waiting for things to get better. It's been building up to this moment, and on the flip side of that, we've got the Jacksons getting ready. We've got Noggano there with 2 comets. Well, it's going to take
yes. It's going to be one of those moments where you just have to completely just let yourself go and get an escapism, kind of blitzkrieg rush of blood to the head, and it all goes crazy down. And we've been there, we've seen it, and we know, we've got that feeling. There's an anticipation, there's a certain aura, and there's a whiff in the air. It's tantalizing.
It is. I guess a lot of the game builds up to this. When you do get stalemates, it stops becoming about composition. It stops becoming about anything else other than the actual play itself. And so the dynamic of the game changes. And we're going to have to see these players
going in
do
now.
something impressive.
He's going for the comets. He's trying to take out the Brumbear. He's got the
comets
AT guns also backing up. The Brits are going ham right now. Where are his ally in all this? The Jackson's now bringing up the rear with a huge double shot in against the Panzer IV. Comets going forward for the king and country.
They have wiped so much armor with that push. That's exactly what we wanted to see. Jackson's at long range. The Comet is strong enough to take most of the damage from the front. But can he get the final push and go?
Cheeky grenade out of the hatch there. One of the crew members stood through a grenade at the AT gun. Now he's going to go for the Panzer Mach 4, but the Elephant's angry. It's stomping around the battlefield. Going to try and take out the Comet. Meanwhile, in the centre, infantry's dying all over the place whilst this huge tank armada goes toe-to-toe.
And Allies here, you know, they've had a good victory there. They've got a lot down, so they don't want to maybe push on much further than this. They've got the munitions for another P-47. They'd be better now to just roll off and get ready for round 2 of this.
Another ability is ready.
This is interesting. I just want to point this. Can you see the AT gun from Scotch? They're trying to take down the Allied AT guns in the centre of the map at the very longest range because they just do not want Noggano and
One of the
Hooligan
best things about this game, of course, you've got
center.
support weapons, the MGs, the mortars, the AT guns. You can wipe them, the crew members. You can take them for yourself, or you can elect to destroy them, and that's what we're seeing the Axis doing now. They don't want this material going back into Allied hands, and it looks like they have managed to get one of their AT guns back there.
Well, we do see Noggano's commander choice, by the way, if you hadn't already. This was picked a while ago, but we are coming up to a potential pick from Noggano, which would be the Crocodile. And this is a great unit, because of course when he brings the Crocodile on, it comes on with a flare, like a recon flare, right? So if he pops the recon flare, P-47s go in, and they've got this great high-armoured unit up in the centre, supported by 2 Jacksons. It is a ferocious combination to take against your opponent. And he will, of course, still need the Comet to flank around the Elephant. On the flip side of that, though, Axis have been defending very, very well. And the huge tier 1 from Scotch, you know, all these infantry on the field, means it's very, very hard for Noggano and Hooligan to get on the VPs.
If you see the battlefield right now, it's been terraformed into something resembling a moonscape. I've had an angry letter from the local farmer who's very, very annoyed that 4 World War II armies have seemingly tried to destroy one another all over his field. But it's happened, and it's a very, very deformed landscape out there, and it tells the tale and the scars of battle like no other. Here's that hero Comet tank that we saw throw itself into the line of action. All the crew members deserve Victoria Crosses for their work there, as they went straight through enemy lines and went toe-to-toe with an Elephant tank destroyer. So credits due where credits due.
We are losing a sector.
Yeah, so there's an interesting dynamic here, AE. And I don't know if you've really just seen a lot of the compositions if you just want to flick between. So Axis have a huge infantry army, right? That means they're constantly able to jump on the VPs. And what we see from the Allies is a heavy anti-tank and vehicle composition that's not necessarily good against infantry. So even if they wipe all these tanks down, they're not really dealing with the massive threat to them right now, which is, of course, this infantry on the field. Kind of strategically bring this game back, because they, I think, actually by composition are in a good spot right now. Even if they get pushed, even if they get dived, they're not really going to suffer so much.
Good spot right now is a meme within the community relating to patch notes. Sure, a few of them got that. There, the Panzer Jaeger, the hunting vehicle of the Wehrmacht, has only got 1 vehicle destroyed and an accidental building destroyed, so it's not been quite as potent as it might have liked. That's probably the mortar it took. Sorry, the mortar it took out. My bad. 2 Jacksons out for Hooligan. This is what Dan was referring to. Got a heavy tank army. This is heavy for Company of Heroes 2. It's a microcosm game. It's all about a platoon level, even though it's called Company of Heroes. And it's about having your 2 tanks supporting your infantry army with your support weapons. And that's exactly what we're seeing.
I think just looking at the formations right now, you've got those 2 comets on the right-hand side again. If Scotch and Talisman are paying attention, they'll probably realise that P-47s are due in. We've got the first of the recon planes coming in right now. And Hooligan, I don't think actually has the munitions for it, so...
Got Browning automatics doing a great work pushing away the Grenadiers here. This is a bloody battlefield. We've split up 2 of the best teams we've got today. PART2, the historied and heavily tournament winning team of all time. I can't get my words out. PART2 have been split up. Here we go. Big Russian down. Call it as you see it.
Oh, exactly. The comet went in. It did hit a Talisman, a very well-placed Talisman. They're still going to get the Panzer IV down, but one of the comets goes down. The Elephant could take down this other one that's engine damage, and GB is trying to save his teammate by going in with the Sherman. It is not able to find the turret quick enough, though. Even with the P-47, this is still dangerous. We have concentrated fire option raining down, making things even harder, and Jacksons are going to die.
This Jackson has to win now, Dan, because so much has gone wrong for the Allies in this push. It's been one of those all-in pushes, and we've had a damaged engine on the Jackson. It's got to take out the Elephant, and it doesn't look like it will be able to do it as they...
No, but the Elephant goes down to the P-47.
What?
So they do take with it a huge kill at the end of that engagement. But they've lost so much. They lost so much trying to make that happen. The best thing they can do right now is get on those VPs, try and get a triple cap, which they are doing. But I don't think they're able to defend it at this point.
That was such a poor showing for the Allies. They went full ham there. A Talisman, an anti-tank mine, went off here. There's one there as an example, but one went off here. It damaged the engines of both on-rushing comets. And then, of course, the only saving grace was the P-47 rocket strafe did take out the Elephant there slightly off camera. And they didn't expect that, and the AI certainly helped out the situation. But in general, huge problems there for the Allies now.
Yeah, it's I mean, you know, at this stage of the game, it really is all about those plays. Axis was so set up, you know, there was such a good position that a play like that had to be made. It hasn't gone well, and I don't really think the VPs are there for Allies to make a comeback. We haven't got the munitions from GB to use the P-47 strafe anymore, so they don't have even the capability of making those big plays right now. So, you know, that really was all or nothing, and for Allies, they are, quite frankly, left with nothing.
Well, you say that the VP's on there. I mean, they got 200. I mean, that is just enough to make a comeback, but as you rightly say, the resources don't back that up. I mean, they've got fuel, but they're lacking heavily in manpower at the moment. So it is a difficult situation. There's possibly one last... Oh god, big Stukas dive bomb coming in. Taking out that AT gun.
Yeah, it's one of these things, because, yeah, it's like, you know what, they got 200 VPs, it's fine. Well, you know, that's great when you have at least one VP to stop the speed of this going down. And I don't know if everybody here knows, but the amount of VPs that you hold controls how fast your opponent's VP count drains, right? So having 3 means it goes down very, very quickly. So that's why VPs are so important. If you've got all 3 of them, that goes down very fast, and that is really what GB and Noggano have to stop right now, is the very, very quick drain from the huge kind of resurgence that Axis have just had.
Axis showing off there for a while. Scotch and Talisman had 4 Grenadier squads, all with LMGs, 2 from each army, acting as one blob, quite frankly. And they were walking through cratered yellow cover in the center, and they were showing off their synergy, their newfound synergy, first time they've ever teamed up together. And it was really fun to see until the grenades of the USF had to spoil everything for them.
They still have the larger infantry army, although I have to say, with 4 pioneers in the build, in the composition for Scotch, it's not an efficient infantry army. But it doesn't really present, in my opinion, a good opportunity for Allies to come back. It's a very, very steep uphill climb from here, and they have to make a similarly big play with a lot less this time around.
Looks like Talisman saving for an elephant. He's just waiting to get the fuel count now. He's banked 860 manpower, and the Axis is looking damn powerful. They did make somewhat of a comeback. We've had a lot of coming and going in this game in terms of who's in the ascendancy and descendancy. And right now, as we see debris fly through the air, that's a bit odd, we are seeing them look very powerful. Saying that, another mine goes off, this time an allied mine, damaging the engine of the Panther. Does the allies have enough to back it up? They've got 2 AT guns coming into position. They're trying to keep line of sight in the fog of war, so let's show you a little bit of that now. They do have line of sight. There's the shroud, the fog of war in the background. They need to get these shots, though. And they do! Fantastic work by Noggano.
Yeah, that's really good, and you know, even from a comfortable position, if you're winning, you just can't push forward with tanks unprotected like that. You know, this game is all about support, about moving up as a group, and tactical play, and pushing that tank a little bit too far forwards, of course, triggers that mine and results in a catastrophic loss for Axis at this stage of the game.
Jackson's operating.
Oh, here comes the crocodile, by the way, from Noggano.
Nice.
And as we were talking about before, those flares are coming down some on the map right now. I believe they are central to get a bit of an idea about where the opponents are set up.
There's the flares showing and revealing the Axis enemy. Because, as described earlier, Noggano and Hooligan have one last chance at this. They've got... they were down on their luck. They're against heavy Axis forces, but they've got just enough, possibly, if everything goes their way, to stage somewhat of a comeback. But everything does have to go their way. They have to play out of their skins. Their micro has to have acuity. Their brainwaves have to be accurate, and everything has to go damn well as planned.
Yeah, but the crocodile, I mean, this is a late game unit. It's a call and it is devastating. Look at the flames there. The units just melt to this thing, and added to that as well, it is high armor, which means it's the perfect complement to the Jackson, which is able to just pick off at long range while this crocodile takes a hell of a lot of damage. And you know, this is big. This is the unit that could potentially start to change it. It's
talking of big,
needed against the infantry composition.
Talking of big, we've got the second elephant out. This is a damn heavy, lumbering beast, and will it be as good as the first one? Meanwhile, Jackson's up against the Panzer Mark IV in the centre. Terse and tense battle for this victory point. It's all about this central ground. We've got 112 victory points for the Allies, 74 remaining for the Axis, and it looks like the Allies have just pipped them to the posts, whilst artillery fire rains down from above.
They're playing this very well. All they need to do is support the crocodile with the infantry. Keep moving up, get vision, let the Jackson pick off. And there's a chance, there's a very slim chance they can start pulling this back.
Grens couldn't feel the heat there. They had to get out of the kitchen as the crocodile cooks up a dish, and that dish is a dish of grenadiers themselves. Analogy was cooking on gas for a while, but it was eventually overcooked. You thought it was over, and then there was some more.
We've got this great dance in the middle at the moment from the infantry. You know what I mean? They're both trying to get this VP. This is now a stalemate. The VPs are no longer dropping because they've got one each. So it is a huge fight for this in the center. Is the absolute focus of this game right now. You've got tanks with the Panzer IV trying to put infantry through the smoke. They're trying to put smoke in to cover each other. And it's all about who takes this VP. Oh, do you see there? We just see Brits dropping in the artillery.
Vet 3 sniper has to get out of dodge. Got 36 kills. He's pretty much a war criminal right now. Talking of which, the crocodile is lumbering into view. And this is a neutral victory point right now. We've got a stalemate, 104 victory points to 74. It's anybody's game to play for right now.
You know what's really fun about this is not only are they fighting so intensely in the center, both players are trying to then cap the outside VPs to get one up over their opponent. It's really, really tough. Crocodile laying flames through the center VP to stop those grenadiers going in to cap, but at the same time, none of the allied infantry is able to get on whilst the sniper is there, whilst the MG is there.
Yeah, absolutely. Talking of MGs, we've also got an MG bunker in the north here, not taking up any of the vital population cap for Talisman. He's at 83 of his available army size, so he's decided to use a bunker which doesn't take up any, so good usage by him. Jackson whirs into action against this pack, and Dan, you really feel these players are actually playing at their zenith. They're playing at the highest micro points, because we're seeing a lot of very quick reaction times in this game.
We are, yeah, and you can also tell they're playing seriously, because we are seeing late game comebacks all the time. Even when Axis is in an incredibly strong position for the last 5 minutes, you know, we're still seeing the allies find those kind of...
Oh, that was brutal, Dan, to interrupt. We've just seen the sniper on the North VP dance around a grenade. Talisman showing off with micro there. He darted away from the grenade, then got the headshot on retreat from the rifleman that threw the pineapple. That was incredible.
Yeah, he did use the incendiary round on that as well, for the accuracy, which is really cool to see. So actually, great micro with that. Yeah.
Oh, so you were watching that? I thought you were talking about a build order decision or something. I thought you didn't see it. Didn't you? I thought that was
all over the map. But trust me, you know me. I normally do the camera control. I'm flying through things.
Enemy forces are securing our territory.
Here we go. We've got the Tommies backing up using the US to clear the breach, and then they'll come up behind the rear because obviously British lives matter. And Hooligan jumped on with it with the crocodile offering flame support. Will the Tommies be able to crawl forward onto the bodies of the Americans to cap that victory point? We've now seen 96 victory points remaining for the Allies. Brombear with a huge shot. 95 remaining for the Allies. They have to get within that circle because they're below 100.
Yeah, it's a very tough situation because, of course, they're also fighting that VP from the front, which means they are constantly feeding that elephant with the veterancy it requires to become even more deadly in the center. It's making things very difficult for the crocodile to defend against
Stuka.
Infantry. Yep, we can hear it. It's going to be on that MG.
Most likely. There you go. Due to the quick reaction times of the 12-year-old Hooligan, he was able to get away there. Lieutenant killed. He's now an ex-lieutenant, former lieutenant. Used to be a lieutenant, now it's a corpse. Well,
a 50-minute game right now, and we're coming up to even VPs, and it's been a slow game. You know, it's been a difficult game. GB Hooligan completely out of any infantry that is going to be suitable for capping. Noggano, of course, British infantry a little bit slow. They don't have that kind of utility that riflemen have to, you know, to get in, to throw those grenades, to be quick and lethal. You know, they're going to struggle here. And if we see Scotch putting those bunkers up in the center, I think we're going to see the closure of this game. And it's been a really good game.
Just one favour then, can we just have 10 seconds of silence and just be an observer? Just listen to the game sounds.
Ah, my leg!
Get away, Hermit, I'm trying to enjoy the quiet. Give me some free time.
6-pounder anti-tank gun finished.
Can't believe the ambient voice chatter you can hear in this game is incredible. Great work, Raleigh. But that was a brief...
Like, wow, audio quality is incredible.
Brief lull in activity at the 51-minute mark, and I think the armies deserve it for a moment's respite at least, because we're now heading into that late game crescendo, the raging climax that has been the story of this battle.
Yeah, don't count allies yet, out just yet, because somehow they've managed to get resources being saved. We've got 3 Jacksons, we have the Crocodile, and a Comet is in the build. Hooligan may be able to get enough resources for the P-47, and if they do get the resources, they can once again make that play that they failed to make earlier. It could happen. I'm excited.
Do you know what's exciting for me? Hooligan's army. He's got an incredible variety of infantry he can throw into victory points. The 2-man mortar, which is currently being shot, and sorry, the MG, and the mortar, which we all know is great at that capping kind of potential. That was, yeah, it's not great for him.
No, they're waiting. They are just patiently waiting for this moment. They've got the VP bleed at the moment. He's going for the 4th Jackson.
Okay.
The 4th Jackson. This is going to be so last minute. This is such a last second play. But if they get it, they could get on those VPs and could...
No, it's such a tactical misplay in my opinion. I know it's 2v2 and he's clearly going for a roll, whilst Noggano goes for the other roll. But it's a famous phrase in Company of Heroes, tanks can't cap points. He's in a scary situation now, 45 victory points remaining. He may be able to clear out a few tanks, but it's going to be difficult.
I think GB's been forced to go for it here. He's taking a Vectry Jackson up the front. He's trying to get the sight blocker by driving, keeping his angle behind buildings. He's got Armor Jackson going through all of this Axis support build-up, and everything's just getting shredded. I personally think he's wasted this opportunity here.
Ability from the concentrated fire operations as the Jackson explodes. The Comet's had to go for it. Noggano's throwing something huge in the works there. As you see another huge 240mm artillery strike flying down from the sky. Comet with great long-range accuracy. Is that enough, Dan? Will they be able to cap?
I don't know, this is difficult because Axis have lost pretty much all the tanks that they had, which means Allies do have that opportunity to go into the center now. I think Noggano really doesn't want to lose the proc here, and it is very close to going down.
Pack 40, Vet 3, third shot is lucky and takes out the Crocodile. That was one of the big things that was going to allow them to pave the way through Scorched Earth and capture that victory point. Here we go, we've got the Comet rushing in. It's a very tense situation. Here comes the Vet 3 Grenadier, heroes of the Third Reich, it would seem. But we've got the boys from Blighty fighting out, and we've got the 1st Airborne Division parachuting down from the sky and straight into Hell's Breach. What a tense and climactic battle we're seeing.
Yeah, this is literally the only and last chance that they're going to get to finish this. The Airborne dive down. Grenadier is going to try and hold it, but there we go. Decap is now back on. He should decap the point, which stops the VP drain, and it's all about capping this point. It's 18 VPs to 74.
Oh, but the Brumbear with a massive shell in. Here comes the P-47 rocket strafe, though. Brumbear's days are numbered. Main gun's destroyed. Second P-47 takes it out. Pioneers trying to battle out here. Oh, have the Allies made one of the comebacks of the century?
No, there's no chance because, of course, VP on the right-hand side.
Oh.
Making a great play to decap that VP on the right. He destroys the MG with a rifle node, which means that has got to be GG. Allies do not have GB Hooligan's army. I think that shows you how much they threw into that engagement. And
everything.
Talisman, he's just secured the win.
And this is the brutal move from War Veteran Talisman. All this was happening in the center east. He took an elite trooper down to the south and retook that victory point. And just when the Allies thought they might have a chance, a brief sign of life, Talisman stamped it out with authority.
Yep, 3 VPs left. It is going to be GG to Scotch and Talisman, which means I win on my bet at the start of the game.
Well done. Yeah, really saw that one coming. It was a really cohesive win for the Axis. 55 minutes in. Fantastic game. That's for everybody that's never seen us before, this is what we look like. It's hideous. And we've got a lot of viewers today. We are going to be passing the baton on in our Make War Not Love Fair video extravaganza, whatever the hell